All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to do BMX Action Magazine. This one's going to be September 1985. It says here, definitely the most radical doubles in existence. Greg Hill, Harry Larry, and Pistol Pete Lonkarovich heading into orbit at the killer Devonshire track. Photo by Gibby. That's a pretty killer cover. These guys were all at their peak. Can't wait to get into it, so let's crack this sucker open. All right, guys, let's get started. So, I pulled out the latest Pool BMX magazine. I just got this magazine I guess last week or so, and I wanted to talk about this really quick before I crack into this one. Is Barry Nobles. This dude, I became a huge fan of Barry Nobles probably 2 years ago, and he decided to make a comeback, go to the Grands, and just try to win the Grands in Vet Pro. And I saw him racing in that race because I always watch the Grands on YouTube every year. And I go, oh, check it out, it's Barry Nobles, he's back. And I really thought he'd kind of went on to the freestyle mountain bike thing. And anyway, I'm watching this guy race, and I go, oh, this is pretty awesome. He's actually pretty great, you know? And all of a sudden, I started digging into his videos, watching all his past videos. And now every week I watch his content. I love his content. He's got backing from Chase Bicycles, Mercedes Benz. It's just pretty awesome to see what he's accomplished in such a little amount of time. And, you know, he just won the national title last year. He's definitely going for it again this year. I just watched a video of him on YouTube where he just got a trailer that he overhauled, and he's getting ready to travel to Canada with it. And it just was pretty awesome. I really get into his videos. And one of the things I like about Barry is his riding style. He's super aggressive. I like the way he attacks the track. I mean, his level of riding is way beyond anything I could possibly do, but still, I'm a really big fan of that. Anyway, looking through the magazine, you know, I just did the simple breeze through. Actually, it was, I think, yesterday. I sat down and kind of started going through it a little bit. I won't go through too far of this because obviously my videos are more about BMX action, but again, we got the fly ad that's really cool, the answer fork ad, Supercross. Oh, wait a minute, before I just pass by that, look at this Supercross in the chrome finish. How cool is that? I really like that. NV7 RS. I saw this and I go, wow, I would totally buy that just because it has a chrome finish to it. And I missed the chrome. I know that's old school. I just do miss the chrome. And look at these ads. I mean, the pictures on here are just so great. If anything, man, if you just don't even like to read, you can just simply just read through this, or I'm sorry, skim through this and just look at the great photos in here. But me, I'm a reader. I like to, my technique with magazines, and I think I mentioned it in like my first video. It's like I just go through the whole magazine, you know, just like I'm doing right now, just casually breezing through it. And then once I've kind of soaked everything in, then I go back and I start reading all the information in the magazines. And that's basically how I've learned so much. I wish I was really that diligent with my schoolwork. But, you know, what they say, you know, you really grasp on the things that you're interested in. And BMX has definitely been something I've always been interested in. So, really great magazine, Northwest, the Great Northwest Nationals here. You know, what's coming up this weekend is they're going to have a national in Reno this weekend, and I'm actually contemplating if I'm going to go and watch and maybe take some video of that, put it on my channel. I've been really committing to helping my dad with his property every weekend, so I really would have to see what he has planned before I kind of abandon him and go to a race. Look at this shot of Connor Fields. That's sick. Connor Fields, again, one of my favorite riders as well. It was really crazy how, you know, that crash in the Olympics basically sidelined him. He's still heavily involved in the sport, obviously. He still promotes Chase. Sorry, there's such a glare here. And I think, you know, if this guy wanted to, he can really mix it up. You know what I would like to see for Connor is, because I think he still has a lot of gas in the tank, I'd love to see him just focus on USA BMX and try to win one more title. I'd love to see that. I would think for him, no more Supercross, and definitely don't chase the Olympics anymore. He really almost killed himself doing that. But I would love to see him definitely chase one more title, you know, and Joris Dade, whatever. He's awesome. I love this dude too. I like all the Chase guys. I love their colors. I definitely love the bikes. Everything about Chase I think is super awesome. And again, I just if I was going to be at that level, I'd love to be a chase guy. That's just a great place to be, it appears. Anyway, let's put this one to the side before I get too into it. Last time I did this, it took like 55 minutes to finish my video, so I probably should put this away. I love this rift tangent. Love that. All right, guys, that's enough of this one. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love the cover. And again, a lot to say about that, but we're going to focus on what we're here for, and that's BMX Action Magazine. So let's get into it. Let's take a look. Let's crack it open. We got Action Line, Hot Shots. Looks like Harry Larry's in the Hot Shots, Sanitation Department, Freestyle How-Tos, something called the Switzerland Squeaker, Reader Survey Results. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Got our Hot Shots, look like Buffs in the Hot Shots, testing the Schwinn Predator, Streetwise. So I guess this time around we're going to be testing Schwinn Predator Freestyle Bike. Haro's Corner. Oh, I can't wait to see what that looks like. Some elbows out doodling. But Racing, SE Racing, NBL, Pacific Coast National, and Ascot. And we'll take a look at that. And then we have some outtakes with Brackens. So let's take a look. All right. Rockville BMX. We got the Vans shoes ad. And man, I haven't worn Vans in a while. And I don't know what it is about Vans. I used to love them as a teenager. Now when I put them on, I feel like I have absolutely no support when I'm walking, and it feels like I'm walking on planks. It's not, I got so used to wearing like cross trainer shoes, basketball shoes from Nike and things like that, that now when I put on a pair of Vans, I feel, I don't know, very vulnerable. It's the only way I can say it. I don't feel like I could run or anything like that. So although they're super, super stylish, I don't know. I kind of don't see myself buying another pair unless I was going to just use them for riding, which is really what they were best for, honestly. Also, they did look really cool with a pair of jeans and shorts. So yeah, maybe I will get some. All right, what do we got here? We got the Hutch Wind Styler. And again, this is like, one thing I noticed about the freestyle stuff is it's super, super popular now as far as getting the retro things. And I've noticed that a lot in a lot of the videos I've been watching on YouTube. Big rage for getting these freestyle bikes. I never owned one, but I know plenty of kids that had them. They were all over the neighborhoods. They were super, super popular for me. Like I said, I've always been a racer. But let's keep on going. Man, how many times are we going to see this ad? As a matter of fact, when I was looking through this magazine, they had something about Profile in there, and it was showing some of their original ads and so forth, and that one was there. And it was funny when I saw it in this magazine because I'm like, oh, that's so cool, because I keep running across the same ad over and over. It's like they didn't have to do it any different. Everybody knew what it was. Everybody loved it. What do we got here? Earth Cruisers. Wow, these are just straight beach cruisers. Those are kind of cool. Yeah, I definitely can see myself cruising around on one of those. Maybe not, but I think it would be pretty cool anyway. All right, Action Line. Let's take a look at this. Give me 1 second, guys. Time to grab the charger. All right, sorry, guys. I had to take a good swig of water as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this Action Line. Now, I used to like reading the mail from the people that read the magazine, because it kind of gave you a perspective of what other people are experiencing and their questions. And the funny thing is, a lot of stuff that I would run across in these little ads were very similar to what I experienced. So, like, let's take a look at this first one. It said, "Snob, sniff, etc. Dear Ed, I've had a sub to the great and powerful mighty BMXA for 4 years, but recently my sub ran out. You might you might think that I would just quickly resubscribe, right? No can do. I have to get my wisdom teeth pulled, and it's going to be a pretty expensive. It'll leave me broke, so I have to just say one word, help." Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's not going to happen. They're not going to pay for your magazine subscription. That was a nice try, though. I have to give it to them. Let's read another one. Let's see here. If the bike fits. Let's take a look. BMXA Dudes, in the August 84 issue of Mighty BMXA, you said that the recommended age range for Redline 500A was 11 to 13 for racing and 10 to 14 for street riding. What can I do to upgrade the parts and make it suitable for a 14-year-old racer? That's a really good question. I like that question. And the reason I like that question is because it's definitely something that everybody that grew up in this era can relate to, because you'd start off with a bike. And if you have a BMX race bike and you talk to your parents into buying you this BMX race bike, it's not like every year the average kid can go, let me get a new one. I'm too big for this one now, because that just wasn't reality. Now, there are the hardcore factory dads that are constantly upgrading their kids' bikes, and that's great. But the average kid in the neighborhood, they ran into this problem. We're like, what do I do? This bike is too small, or it's not, it's too heavy now, or whatever the case may be. And to give you an example of what I did, I started off with a very entry level BMX race bike. And it started off with the bars, was probably the first thing I changed, because the bars, there were these little V-line handlebars, and they were supposed to be like red lines, but they were kind of knockoffs or whatever. And they were too small. And so that was like the first thing I ended up changing. I swapped those out and I got CW handlebars. And from there, I had really cheap, not bear trap pedals, but the original type. I can't even explain it. There were just cheap pedals on there, and those had to go. And I got like a Shimano DX type pedal. That was like the next change. And then I wanted to be able to switch out my gearing. So I took off just that regular spider that was in there and I put a power disc. So I was able to change it. And then plus I could put a blue anodized chainring with a silver, with I think it was chrome power disc. And so now you've got like a whole new look. I had the blue DX pedals and I had the blue power disc. Oh no, it was a blue power disc. Blue power disc with the blue chain ring, and it just totally, with the CW bars. Now all of a sudden my bike started kind of coming up. And it's just little slight changes like that. And then eventually, I think I explained before, I broke that frame and I was able to get the Skyway frame. And then from there, I just kept changing parts until the point where the original bike that I got really never didn't even exist anymore. It was just, all it turned out to be were spare parts hanging in the little shed that my dad made me. So, but anyway, let's keep moving. Oh, I should read the response. Let's see. All right, Mike, don't panic. When we do the recommendations for the age range, we're taking the stock bike in consideration. Sometimes a single, easily changed component inhibits the use of a bike for the larger folks. For example, looking back at a few of our recent test bikes, there were a couple of things that we would have said would have been suitable for much older riders, except for the handlebars, which were way too small. I won't read the rest, but he's going in the same direction that I'm going. You were able to just make slight changes to improve the bike. And what I noticed is as my skill level went up as a racer, so did the parts. So in other words, as I started committing myself to the sport and going to the races a lot and starting to win, my mom and dad were more into it, allowing me to make the changes. At least my mom was. My dad was a little crazy about it, but that's a whole other story. All right, let's go into the dyno products. I just saw the guy on Rad BMX Builds, and he just did a dyno freestyle bike. It was all black, so I think it was basically a repop, and he made it look retro by changing some of the parts to give it a kind of a retro feel, which I thought was super cool. Because on my current Skyway, yeah, it's a repop, but it's a Skyway with modern geometry, so I put modern parts with it, so I can have the retro look, but a very raceable bike or rideable bike as well. So I kind of went with the same thing. Okay, let's keep going. We got more action line stuff here, which we're not going to read all of this. The Browning BMX 2-speed. Recently, I've heard people talking about this on a few different podcasts that I've heard. I never kind of partaked in the gears or the gear shifting or anything like that, so I really can't comment on this. I don't know if the quality was there. I don't know if it was worth having it. I'd never seen anybody use it, so I can't really say if it's worth it. Is it a cool concept? Yeah, I think so. I mean, it can't hurt to try new things, but in my eyes, I think BMX bikes, BMX race bikes, that is, they're the most simplistic pieces of machinery. They make them very simple, very clean, very light. It's not about adding all kinds of additional weight and unnecessary things. So, like, for example, they just now disc brakes are starting to become a big thing. Most of the new bikes that you see that come as completes, they have disc brakes on them. Do I think disc brakes are necessary? Probably not, because we don't need that kind of stopping power. But I've never raced pro. I don't know what these guys experience that are going at these speeds that they go. Like, for example, I mean, look at this track. that Barry Knowles is practicing on. That's not something that an average local guy is going to go on. So maybe, but in my opinion, yeah, if I had disc brakes, I think they would look cool, but I don't know if I really need them. Okay, let's keep going. All right, the wave has come. Experience MT Racing's new high-tech series that is ready to make things happen. That's a pretty decent looking bike for what it is. Can't say that it's bad. And then they have a freestyle version right here. So MT Racing, probably the more affordable option for a kid back then to get into the either racing or freestyle. And I think it would do the job. I don't really see any issues with it. It looks just like everybody else's. This is very comparable to a lot of entry level bikes that the other manufacturers were doing. So, and definitely they spent some money on some advertising. All right, what do we got here? Oh my God, what is this? Padlocks by Flight. Wow. Okay. I forgot about these. And back a few magazines ago, I talked about riding my bike to 7-Eleven and leaning it up against the glass and going in to play a video game. And I think I mentioned to you guys that someone stole my pad set, my whole entire checkered pad set, my seat cover, and all that. How awesome would it have been to have a little lock on it like that? That is so cool. Yeah, I would have still had my pads. Oh man, getting bikes stolen and stuff, it seems like a rite of passage back then, man. I mean, geez, all of us experienced it at least once. Me and my cousins and friends. Matter of fact, there was this one kid. He lived by my grandmother's house. I want to say his name was David, and his dad just got him a race bike. I want to say it was a Diamondback. I could be wrong. I can't remember that far back, but I remember it being chrome and red, and he was nowhere near a racer. He just wanted to hang out and have a BMX bike. Nothing wrong with that. And anyway, he pulled up to my grandmother's house and he laid the bike right on the grass by the front door, and literally it was probably 5 feet away, 4 feet away, if that. And all he did was knock on the door, and I opened the door. I go, "Oh, hey, David." And he came in. He goes, "Hey, let's go ride bikes." I go, "Okay, cool." We walked outside. His bike was gone. Boom, just like that. I mean, there's just so many stories of people's bikes getting stolen, and then once they're stolen, it's the chances of you getting it back is pretty slim. Except I have one story I'm going to share with you guys before I go into this Predator ad. My cousin James, he had I want to say his bike was called a Kobe, Kobe, and his stepdad and his mom put some really good money into this bike. They upgraded it all up. It was a really nice race bike. It was dark blue. It had Skyway tough wheels on it. He had all the latest components on it. The only thing he didn't have was like a 3-piece crank, but the bike overall it was really cool race bike. And I remember he had just got a new pair of snake belly tires. They were blue against the black tough wheels. His bike just looked slick. And me and my cousin James, we had to make a store run for, I think it was my parents or his parents. I can't remember. And the worst thing you can do is ride your bike to the store. I don't know why we just never learned our lesson, but we rode our bikes to the store and we tried to hide them behind all these newspaper stands there was those metal newspaper stands. You used to open them up and take your newspaper out, and there was like 5 or 6 of them in front of this grocery store. So what we did is we tucked our bikes behind there and we went inside the store to go grab what we needed. And of course, the guy who stole his bike, he took my bike and he just threw it to the side because my bike was like a Kent. It wasn't a race bike. It was a kind of like it was a department store race bike or BMX bike. So it didn't compare to my cousin's bike. So they threw my bike to the side and they took my cousin's bike and they took off. And that bike was just gone, man. And he went a couple weeks with absolutely no bike. And I think my mom and his mom were going to go ahead and just get him a brand new bike, and they were going to have him pick out a new bike, and he was getting pretty excited. And then anyway, I'm telling you guys, this is a true story. It had to be at least a month had gone by, and we were at the schoolyard playing football. It was just me and my cousins. We were all just playing touch football or whatever. We were having a good old time, not thinking about bikes at all. And this girl walks up. She must have been about 17, 18 years old. She just walks up with us with this little boy. He must have been about 10 or 11. And she comes up to us and she goes, "Hey, was your bike stolen?" She comes up to my cousin, and he was young too. He was probably 9 or 10. And he goes, "Yeah, my bike was stolen." He goes, "Okay, I know where it is. My brother stole it." and she wasn't talking about the kid that was with her. It was, I guess, her older brother. And he goes, really? She goes, yeah. If you come to my house, you can collect your bike. And it was the one time and only time that any of us recovered a stolen bike. It was just gone. And anyway, we get over to the house. We get over to their house, and she lets us into the garage. And I remember there was me and maybe three or other my cousins with us. It was like at least four of us. And we go in the garage, and immediately we found his bike, but it was not put together. It was all stripped down. Like all the parts were all over the garage. We had to find that. My cousin goes, oh, here's the seat post. We found the seat clamp, frame forks. We just had to collect all the parts and carry them home, and then we reassembled the bike. But that's just a crazy story. Other than that, he's had a couple bikes stolen. I've had a couple bikes stolen. They're just gone after that. Anyway, let's get back to it. Sorry about the long story. Okay, we got another ad here. Mike Polson, man, check him out. He's back here in the background, and against this old school Cadillac. I love this ad. It's really cool because as we go further and further into these magazine reviews, you see Mike Polson pop up a lot. This dude was killing it. And most of his career, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, he was famous for being a top amateur. And I know he turned pro, but I think his amateur status as a top rider really shot him to stardom in terms of BMX racing, that is. All right, let's shoot on to the next one. All right, we got a Skyway ad here. Now Skyway has shifted gears. It appears they're more solely into freestyle at this point. Look, the Skyway Recreation, label here is exactly the same, but the colors are all different. Purple, yellow. It looks really strange like that, but hey, it is what it is. Freestyle was really the hit back then, and racing was fading, especially from the Skyway side. We will see more Skyway riders though, but let's keep going. Oh yeah, visor risers. If you were racing in the 80s and, well, let's call it mid 80s to late 80s, even to 90s, your helmet better have a visor riser on it. It had to have a visor riser on it, because if your visor was tilting down like this, yeah, you were a novice or beginner. It had to be up. And if it was up, you were a fast dude. And I remember getting a visor riser, and I had a visor riser. It was probably more of this level. I didn't have the super one like this one. But anyway, it was really cool. I had one helmet that was kind of a knockoff open face helmet, and it worked perfect for that helmet. The visor was at a perfect angle. But when I got my Bell helmet, the Bell helmet naturally had a little kink up like this. So when I put the visorizer on, it was too high. So I had to basically eliminate it. But yeah, I was a big fan of having a visorizer. It takes you to the next level. I know it sounds stupid, but when you see a kid with his visor clicked up like that, you knew he was fast. Okay, guys, I need to get another drink of water. 1 second. All right, I'm back. I know it sounds weird, but I think I dehydrated myself today. I just didn't drink enough water. I'm totally feeling it right now. All right, let's keep going. We got the bike gallery here. And looks like, again, it's a lot of freestyle stuff here. Ooh, I love this brake lever. Look at that. Really beefy looking brake lever. We got the uni number plates there. And uni tailpipes. I have no idea where that goes. Is that for like a fork stand? For fork pegs or whatever? I have no idea what that is. If you guys can comment below and let me know what the uni tailpipe caps are for, that would be great, because I have no idea. We got sanitation department here. And check it out, Ralph Sampson. Houston Rockets. Not a BMX bike, but they're advertising some nutriment drink. That is really cool. I totally forgot this was in the magazine. We got Mark IV Necessities. Looks like they had number plates and visors. Pretty cool. We just talked a lot about visors, so probably should change gears there. We got Action BMX Cycle Company. A lot of stuff that we would get through the magazines, and I've commented on this before. I used to order a lot of stuff through magazines, so to see stuff like this is really cool. And what I would use this for too is if I would sit down with a blank piece of paper, and I would write down the parts that I would necessarily want, and then I could total them up on the side. And then sometimes for fun, I go, what would it cost to build my dream bike? and I would go through one of these and I would get every single part that I thought was just totally awesome and build a dream bike in my head, and sketch it out and find out what all the cost would be. And then I'd write it down. I go, this bike cost $900 because I picked all the best parts or whatever. That's pretty awesome. I love doing stuff like that. Oh, check it out. I have another, this one, last time it was a word search. Now it's a crossword puzzle. It looks like I knocked that one out too. Pretty cool. I don't know. It looks like I used a really bad pen. I probably didn't have anything reasonable to write with at the time. All right, let's keep going. Hank and Frank. Now, Hank and Frank is in Oakland, California. And the cool thing about Hank and Frank is that I lived in the Bay Area at the time. I lived in Union City, California. Oakland, literally 20 minutes away. So to see something like Hank and Frank in a major publication like this was very, very cool for me. And I know that the Patterson brothers were big advocates of Hank and Frank. So that is really cool. Really, really cool to see that. And here we go. We got Pete Lonkarovich. And Pete was running on CW at the time. This lighting is horrible, guys. I'm really sorry. I can't seem to find the right angle. But anyway, that's really awesome. And this was right before he switched over to Haro. He was rocking the CW. Ready, aim, fire. That's a really cool ad. I like it a lot. Man, there's a lot of bicycle or bike shops in this magazine. This is probably the third or fourth one we've run into. Frankfurt BMX. You got your skateboard ads here. Tioga. This is not much to look at. Let's keep going. All right, the Switzerland Squeaker. I could barely say that. It's the Switzerland Squeaker. I don't think I could say that 3 times without stumbling across my words, but this is a pretty cool trick. Of course, RL's doing his thing. Show you guys the picture sequence. I think it's going to go from over here too. So he's just rolling backwards in the endo position. That's really cool. Very, very cool. I could do endos, but I definitely couldn't do anything else other than the endo. I wasn't going to bounce, certainly wasn't going to roll backwards, but that's really cool. I wonder how many of these tricks are still really used today. I bet you a lot of them are, from all these people that did the innovation and came up with the tricks. We got GT Performance parts, and man, lots and lots of freestyle. But check it out. So the freestyle goes from here. All this is freestyle, and then one tiny piece is racing. It just kind of gives you a piece or a taste of what was happening in the sport. And whoa, reader survey results. He is buried in all the survey results. I know my survey got put in there, and I can't remember what they were giving away, but I definitely remember filling these things out and sending them in. Oh, the winners. Look at that. Here we go. It was a CW Z2000. Steve Miller won it. They gave away a Diamondback Super Viper, and then Rusty Hanvey won it. He was in Maryland, and Steve was in Louisiana. The Mongoose California was won by Todd Feldman in Pennsylvania. They gave away a Redline 500A. It went to Tim Thacker in Vacaville, California. That's not too far from me. And then the SE Henderson Holler went to Craig Bullis in New York. Wow, they gave away a lot of bikes. That is really cool. That is awesome. I want to read all this, but it'll take me forever to go through that. So let's just keep moving. Another bicycle shop. Man, first class BMX. So far, I'm going to tell you guys, and I'm about, I don't know if I'm about probably a quarter of the way through this magazine. Not that great of an issue so far. No offense to BMX Action, but so far it's just been ad, and bike shops. Yeah, let's hope it gets a little bit better. Not my favorite one that I've pulled so far. Oh, look at this GHP ad, though. That's what I'm talking about. Look at all that. Even Greg got involved with the freestyle. That's really, really cool. I can imagine Greg Hill. I think they were making fun of it on the Dirty Knobs podcast. He said, hey, tell me something about this freestyle thing. Because he needed to do something to get his name out there in the freestyle world, because you can't just survive on race. But these bikes are really cool. You can see he focused on the racing. Those are really cool. The frames are amazing looking. I liked it. Let's keep moving. Oh, this is pretty cool. We got the hot shots here, Mike Buff. Damn, look how high that quarter pipe is, man. If you look how small his bike looks compared to the actual ramp, that's a pretty big drop. So he's coming down. His back tire hasn't even touched the back of the ramp yet. Wow, he's damn near at the bottom before he actually touches down. So all he did was kind of drop in. Simple trick, but I definitely would have done it. I would have busted my ass if I would have tried. All right, let's go. Oh, I love this ad. Totally remember this one. And it's a freestyle ad, but I really like it. It's cool it. Look at the rubber snake. And look, Diamondback took advantage of the hot chicks in the magazines. You know, it's really weird because when you look at 80s movies and you see what the girls look like, and my kids ask me, is that what girls look like in the 80s? I'm like, yep, big hair and hairspray. Yeah, I loved it. And if I can remember back in high school, girls would have the big hair, hairspray, the sweaters coming off the shoulders with some Guess jeans. Bam. That was like all I needed to see to be a happy guy. All right, let's keep moving. Schwinn Streetwise. Oh man, maybe that is a race bike, guys. I thought it was going to be a freestyle bike. This is Schwinn was testing a lot of bikes because I think this is probably the second or maybe the third time we've seen a Schwinn being tested in some of the magazines. And is that Gork? Oh man, that's Gork. Check him out. Yeah, he's like, I can do more than just write, guys. Let me do something. That's a pretty sick picture of him too. That's awesome. All right, let's keep going. Oh wow, that's a great picture. Look at that. Awesome. Who took that shot? It says the Streetwise held up, mucho pounding in the merciless hands of Captain Kirk. Tabletop flight over the pit at the parks. Man, that is an awesome, awesome picture. I don't know who took it. It doesn't show who actually took the photo, but that's really a great picture. All right, let's keep moving. Oh, check this out. That sequence shot. He's getting ready to launch, and he lays it out flat. Oh, dude. That's just straight gnarly. Okay, look at him. Perfect landing. Man, you know, it's really weird because I'd go jumping a lot, and you would, there was a time where we'd go to this place called Treeview, and we'd go jumping, and you get used to seeing guys jumping, and it doesn't look like much. And then one day, I had my cousin bring my camera with me. Well, I brought my camera, and I had my cousin take some simple shots of me jumping. And when you see the photos and it shows you how high you're in the air and what you're doing, you're like, holy crap, that was me. You kind of because you get so used to jumping. Now I keep the tires on the ground. I just I don't like to fall. It's hard to recover at my age. This is a good looking bike. I really like it. Very cool. And oh, check it out. It's got like the pro. This was Mongoose's thing, that pro class type wheel, where there was holes going in between the spokes like that. That was really cool. Let's keep going. Oh, this is a cool picture. Who do we got here? Lawin Cunningham. Oh yeah, that's a great photo. Great photo. I remember his name at the time. Oh wow, April 24th, 72. He's only a couple years younger than me. He was in the 7th grade at the time. I was in high school already, but he guarantee you if I would have raced him, he would have smoked me. All right, let's keep going. Oh, that's a great shot right there too. Look at that. Great shot. Love it. Let's keep going. Oh wow, they took some great pictures in this for this test. Man, this is how you sell bikes, guys. It's weird because the builds are very similar from bike to bike. This one's got the CW style handlebars on it. We still hadn't gotten quite away from that yet. That is really cool. I like it. Anyway, let's keep moving. What kind of handlebars did they say they were? Schwinn T-type. It says Schwinn T-type high tensile steel. So they weren't even chrome moly handlebars. So a CW handlebar, it may look like a CW handlebar, but it wasn't a CW handlebar. CWs were chrome moly. Oh, snap. Look at this. Haro's Corner. I love this picture. Dude, I wish I had a whole magazine filled with Bob Haro's BMX racing art. How awesome would that be? I'd love to look at something like that and film that. That would be great. And yet another bicycle or another bike shop. So I'm not going to look at any more of those. Let's keep going. We were literally just talking about this. There's the pro class wheels I was talking about. Fast wheels for fast guys. And who's in here? We got Eric Roop. And then we got Darwin Griffin. And then finally Billy Griggs. all running these pro class wheels. He's on Blue Max, which was basically part of Mongoose, so of course he's going to run those. And these wheels are really cool. I've only ever had these on one bike, and I think my cousin took them or gave them to him, or I don't know what happened to them, but I didn't use them long term. But I always thought they were really cool looking. Okay, another red line ad. Man, guys, not one thing of racing to be found, but very, very, very cool ad. Lots of colors, it pops, it catches your attention. Redline was doing something really good. All right, let's keep going. And then we got the Schwinn Grand Nationals. That's going to happen in This is a 1985 race, Schwinn Grand National. Whoa! Look at the pro purses, $18,000. If you win A Pro, you win $7,000. B Pro was $5,000. Pro Cruiser was $3,500. Pro Award $1,800, and Pro Girl $700. So imagine this: you're a top pro. You go to the NBL Grands. You win A Pro, which is basically AA Pro or Elite Pro. So you win that, and you win $7,000. And then let's say you turn around, you win Pro Cruiser. Now you're at $10,500. That's awesome. And then you turn around and you win the Open. Just throw another $1,800 on that. If you triple, you're putting a lot of money in your pocket, man. That's pretty friggin' awesome. But the odds of tripling, you got to be like Ronnie Anderson or something to do that. But that's pretty awesome. Okay, let's keep going. And then you got your upgrade your image. Hey, I would actually, if they still had these windshield stickers, I'd probably get one right now. I just think that's really, really cool. Just to have the BMX Action windshield sticker like that. I love that. I think it's awesome. Oh my God, another bike shop? Dang. Okay, finally. Dude, guys, we were almost done with the magazine and we finally got into a race. This was not my favorite magazine to review, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's get into it. We got our Ascot National, NBA National, SAE Racing sponsored it. And this picture is really cool. And one of the things I like about this photo is look at this kid right here. Number 12. Look at the way he's torqued out. The way his body is in the perfect position. And he's chasing Britt Audi at the time was ruling the little kid classes. But I really like this position and riding style for this guy. I don't know who it is. Who is that? It says it's the attack of the ankle biters. Britt Audi, number 1, is out in front by a knob, while Randy Ramirez, number 12, is right on his boogaloo. These are some of the very heavy-duty little dudes. I like that. That's a really good picture. And you know what's really cool about this is when you see a center spread like this, it's usually older AMs or pros, and they got the little kids, and this is a great photo of them. I like it. Let's keep going. Oh, check it out. Here we go. We got some pro action here. Got Pete out in front by a little bit of a nose. And I can see Tommy Bracken's back there. And I forgot this guy's name, guys. Forgive me. I'll look it up, though. That looks like Scott Clark on Redline. And, of course, Eddie King is on Diamondback. And the one thing I'll notice here is if you look at Eddie's bike, it no longer has the gusset right there that has a little diamond in it. It's absent now. So they've really upgraded their look at the time to bring them up to more of a modern level at 485, that is. So that's really cool. Oh, you know what? Before I jump ahead, if you look at the rider position now in these pictures, Pete almost has what a rider position looks like nowadays, how they're really up against the bars, and he's got his arms in a situation where he's going to pump, and that's really, really cool. The rider position is back then was a little bit more upright as opposed to now. They're really tucked in to their bikes, and I noticed that as I've been kind of comparing the two, like the modern to the old. I've noticed that a lot. All right, let's keep going. Look at Pete. Pete's getting rad over these doubles right here. Pretty cool. Really, really cool. Second of the bugle call. Here comes the charge of the Bonsai Brigade. And it looks like, yep, Dean LaBarge, Mike King are riding hard. That's a great picture. I like it a lot. Like it a lot. And then there's Eddie King right there. And here's his brother Mike. At the time he was on Haro. That's a really, really good. Or I'm sorry, Huffy. I don't know why I said Haro. That's a really cool picture. Great picture. Let's keep going. Oh, man. because I'm a Skyway fan and I belong to a couple Skyway fan sites on Facebook, I see this picture all the time with Richie Anderson right here on the Skyway 24-inch with the big Skyway graphites, and we got him going against Greg Hill. It's weird to see Greg on a cruiser, it really is. Coming down here, we got a free agent rider. Check out Gary Laurent, number 57, Travis Chiperez, dicing through the second corner. Did you know that Gary just got a job in Las Vegas doing a show doing trick riding, and that he only works for 2 minutes a night, and that he's making $600 a week? Man, that's a pretty good gig. $600 a week, and you only have to ride for 2 minutes. I'll take that job right now, pal. All right, let's keep going. Oh wow, look at the track. Very, very, very typical of a 80s track. Now I'm gonna make a comment about 80s tracks and today's tracks, because one of the things that was really, really hard for me is to go to a national and not to know what to expect when you get to a track. You don't know how hard it's going to be. You don't know how easy it's going to be. You don't know how difficult the jumps are going to be. And back then, there was usually a set of doubles that you had to jump. There was no way to ride them. So sometimes it can get a little scary, honestly. And today's tracks, there's way more obstacles, but everything's very rideable. You can pump everything. You can manual everything. So it's not as intimidating as it was, except for, let's say, like the Supercross tracks, because those things are nuts. I don't think I would ever be able to do that. But anyway, that's a really typical Ascot track, pretty typical look. And who do we have here? Lawin Cunningham doing his thing. That's really cool. And then Joey Allen over here on GT. Let's check out the results. Who won the pro classes? Let's take a look. So for A Pro, Scott Clark won. All right. Pete Loncarevich came in second. Eddie King third. Harry Larry fourth. Andy Patterson fifth. Greg Hill sixth. Eric Roop seventh. And Tommy Brackens came in seventh. For Pro Cruiser, Richie Anderson won that one. And Sean Texas took second. Brian Patterson third. Greg Hill fourth. Eric Roop fifth. Rod Beckering, oh, rest in peace, Rod. He came in sixth. Tinker Juarez seventh. And Clint Miller eighth. And then finally, Pro Award, Eddie King won it. Harry Larry and Scott Clark. So Scott got first in A Pro and third in Pro Award, which I'm assuming is Pro Open, which is pretty cool. So he had a really good race weekend. It looks like Greg Hill popped up in the results a lot. So because he came in, looks like sixth place in A Pro, and then he turned around and came in fourth place in Pro Cruiser. So he had a pretty good showing as well. All right, let's keep moving. Man, we're almost done with this magazine, guys. And oh, another ad here. Little CW freestyle ad. That's pretty cool. Space Age materials. And then this one is trick shirts for trick guys. All right. There's the answer to the crossword puzzle if you couldn't figure it out. And then, boy, this book is still selling. We talked about that in one of my first reviews. And I think we're getting down to the end. I've seen this ad before with Rob Fade. And what do we got here? Northeast Summer World's Master Freestyle Championships. Total pro purse is $3,000. So it's not as big as the BMX pros were getting at the NBL Grands, so that's, it kind of gives you a different perspective of the money. But boy, did the money situation change whenever the X Games thing came out. Man, their money went through the roof, where BMX racing has kind of been stagnant. And then we're done, guys. Here's the outtakes. We got the first shot here, number 1. Looks like that is a profile rider. And I want to say, is that Tommy Brackens behind him? And then, Rich Zagers and Tommy Brackens. Okay. 2. Uh-oh. Look at 3. Look at Tommy's tire. Bam! Right on Rich Zagers' back. I wonder if he rode out on that. I don't know. Greg Hill's just over here saying, I'm going to get me some style. That's really cool. Anyway, guys, that is a wrap. You know what? I'm really disappointed in this one. It wasn't what I hoped it would be. The other magazines they were a little bit better, but hey, we did it. That's September 85 in the books, and we'll catch another one here in a couple weeks. As always, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Bam, we'll do another one in a few weeks, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot.